We now rejoin the discussion on The Rock Newman Show.
Hi, this is Mia. I just remembered that tomorrow I don't have any school, so I was wondering if we can hang out. But if you have plans, that's okay. Bye. Love you.
Welcome back to the Rock Newman Show. And as I told James Brown, we wouldn't be doing this radio show if we didn't have advertisers and didn't have sponsors. And I have a really special affinity for the name Pohanka and for the organization Pohanka. Let me share with you all that the Pohanka family has been in my life, and I've been a part of the Pohanka family since I left Howard University in 1974. It was my first sort of real job. So when I talk about this company and I talk about the various dealerships, I'm not talking about something because somebody is writing a check. I'm talking about a personal experience that has been meaningful, that has been helpful. The patriarch of that company, Jack Pohanka, treated me like a son when I came out of college. He guided me along the way. One of my friends is like a big brother. His name is Scott Crabtree, is an integral part of that ownership structure. And so when I talk to you about getting a car, it's with real personal experience to know that you're going to be treated in a very special way. And this particular dealership, they have many, is that I want to talk about now, is the Pohanka Chevrolet. It's in Chantilly. It's one of the top Chevrolet dealerships in the area. Let me focus you on something. They are open 7 days a week for service, from 7 o'clock in the morning, from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., and you never need a appointment. You just go in, get treated well, and get your service. Any of your automotive needs, Pohanka can satisfy them. Now, talking about satisfying leads me immediately to the voice that you're going to hear next. A friend of many, many years, a man of many, many, many voices and talents, the one and only Johnny Holiday.
I'm on my way out to Pohanka right now to get a car.
That's what you need to do. And tell them Rock Newman sent you, Johnny.
Yeah, man alive. You know, that's a sell job. That's one of the best sell jobs I've heard. You're taking over my territory, man.
Hey, Johnny, I happen to be sitting in the studio with Charlie Brotman. You might want to say hello.
I'm sorry to hear that, Rock. I really am. Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me? Mister,
is this the real Johnny Holiday or a stand-in?
This is his stand-in. Yeah, the real one.
I thought so.
Doesn't have time to talk to you. How are you, Charlie?
Oh, a shade above spectacular, thank you.
First of all, Rock, how did you ever get him to be with you there? Because he comes at a high price.
You know, it's a lot of pretty girls in the studio.
Well, that answers the question right there.
Johnny Holiday, people have seen you and heard you for years in the metropolitan area. They don't know the full backstory of Johnny Holiday. Johnny Holiday, tell us how you got your start in radio and where you got your start.
Rock, we talk about Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball. I kind of broke the color barrier in broadcasting because the only people that would give me the time of day was some good buddies at an African-American station in Miami that I walked into at age, I think I was 17 or 18 with no experience. I had a little tape with me. Nobody else would let me in the front door except at that time it was a R&B all-black station, and I went in there, and these guys that owned the station opened their arms to me. They listened to the tape. They said, "Hey, how old are you?" And I said, "Hi, 18," or something like that. And they said, "Are you willing to relocate?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "We just bought a station in Rochester, New York. We're going to take over in July." In the meantime, we'll put you on here a couple of hours a day to kind of get you some more experience. I was on from noon to 2, and between TJ the DJ and King Coleman and Rocky G, and I was the only Caucasian on that all-African-American station. And if they don't give me the shot, then I never have a chance to move on to Cleveland and Rochester and New York City and San Francisco, then come here 43 years ago.
Wow, you busted the block. You busted the block, Johnny.
I am your brother from another mother, you know, because you used that one night.
That is correct. That is correct. Hey, Johnny, one of the most impactful events, as much as I'm looking for today's show to really be an upbeat show, we're starting, we're launching. But again, I don't think I'd be doing my job if I didn't address this, because I know you were close to the situation. One of the most impactful events in the metropolitan Washington, D.C. sports world, and perhaps nationwide also, happened many years ago when the Boston Celtics
1986
drafted in 1986 Len Bias. Yeah. And very shortly after they drafted him as the #1 pick, he was dead. Take us back there.
Well, you know, Rock, when you there's so many tragedies then and today that you get sick and tired of watching the news, because it's nothing but bad news. And everybody was so shocked at what happened with Lenny. I could not believe it. I was halfway to Leland Memorial Hospital. Somebody had called me and said that I was on another station at the time in the morning, and they said that they brought Len Bias in with what appeared to be a heart attack. And my first thought was, a young guy like that doesn't have a heart attack. He's just in too good a shape. And I got halfway to the hospital, and on the car radio, the guy calls me and says, "Go to Maryland, Len Bias has passed away." And, well, after gathering myself, which was very difficult, and crying like a baby at the loss of a young kid that I had seen when he signed at Northwestern high school to come to Maryland, seeing him progress with interviews, seeing him progress with his talent, seeing him progress as just a human being. It was one of the worst days of my life, and it shook up Maryland, it shook up everybody, and it took the University of Maryland a lot of years to recover from that tragedy. I remember Lenny as a guy with a tremendous smile. Every time he went head-to-head with Michael Jordan, you know who won the battle? Not Jordan, it was Len Bias. And the biggest honor I could have ever received, and I still consider it, probably the most impressive honor, was his mom asked me if I would sing at Lenny's funeral, which I did. Now, doing theater is one thing, but going to sing at somebody's funeral, I've done too many of those. It was one of the most difficult things I ever had to do. And after I finished with the Lord's Prayer, they were walking down the aisle behind Lenny's casket, and his mom throws a kiss to me upstairs, and that's all I needed. I was in the chapel in the balcony singing. But he would have saved the Celtics. He would have been just an absolutely phenomenal NBA player.
Hey,
he is as big. He's probably, well, I mean, his death, at least I'm hoping that kids got the message: do not mess around with drugs. This is what can happen no matter how big you are, how small you are. If the numbers don't come up right, then you're going to be in trouble.
Hey.
Stay away from them. And that's the message I hope they got out of the death of Len Bias.
Johnny, I will say to you, like I said to James Brown, man, we absolutely could talk all day. I love you much. We've got a break here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, and listen, I'm glad that Charlie's there. Have you seen Charlie's basement by any chance? The memorabilia he has?
No, I have not. I have heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Well, before I go, let me just tell you one quick thing. When I got the tour of it, it was only $75 a head. Now that's 20 years ago. I don't know what he's charging now, but you got to go by his house sometime. He'll waive the fee for you. Take a look at what he's got in his home. You will be absolutely blown away.
It used to be $75, but it's going to a $1 125 for you.
See you later, Johnny.
Thank you, Rock. Thanks, Charlie.
Okay.
Right, bye-bye.
We're going to go to break and come right back to Rock Through the